subscribe.
The Angry Ops Guy Podcast.
I'm the angry ops guy, hanging by a thread, living on Prozac, the meds from my head, jaded and burned out, ADHD and overdrive, manage your life, running on a wire, I love it, I hate it, I'm past repair, the angry ops guy, just another day.
Welcome back to the Angry Ops Guy podcast. Ops Mike here, and back from vacation, a little sunburnt in all the spots I don't want to be, but I am back to ops, and I'm happy to share to the listeners that I have a new guest today, but not a WSI guest, which is the theme of the first bunch we've had. I have Gina Marie Mattei here with me, and Gina is one of the people in my ops business that I can truly call one of my friends. And when I say friends, to kind of set her up as she's glaring at me right now, is that Gina and I met each other because Gina, and her former role and where she was employed, was a client of WSI Commandex. And obviously her journey has evolved over the last couple of years, and now she is back into full focus of her own agency. And our friendship continues to grow outside of what was built in a strategic partnership. And we're going to talk about that and everything else. And she's an ops lady, and she's going to spew some rage with me. So Gina, how are you?
I'm happy to be talking to you, Mike. It's been a minute. Glad to see you're a nice, what is that, medium rare color from your vacation?
It doesn't last long up here in Canada when you leave the resort in Dominican Republic at 28 degrees Celsius. I'm in shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops. And when we hit Pearson Airport, it was minus 15 and dark.
Eesh.
Woof.
None of that sounds fun. I've been in the Arctic chill of our New Jersey cold lately. We don't know how to deal with temperatures, and we don't even understand Celsius over here, let alone the cold. So it's been rough too, but I'm glad that I got to witness all of your beautiful vacation pictures as I was shivering under blankets in my own home.
You had to see the one where I was completely scorched from the tits up, and then the belly fat was all burnt, and then everybody and their mother's just like, you're burnt, and I just literally wrote back, and I'm like, that's what fat and love handles do. It just burns like bacon. It's crispy.
Don't you love it when people point out the obvious? But that's kind of what we do professionally as well. People just love doing that in the ops world as well. Just giving us insights on things that we already know.
Did you know that my website needs this and that? Yeah, genius. I built it.
And also, we've been telling you that out the gate, but glad that you're now listening to yourself. It's amazing.
We're gonna have so much fun talking, because
We
not only
are.
are you one of my favorite people to talk to, and we do have a chance to chat because it's so just effortless to kind of find themes and talk life and shop and everything else, but just the humor we have. Because what's interesting about you, just to give the listeners who obviously don't know you because you're not in the WSI network, but Gina has a very interesting background, and she has been in the marketing industry for over 17 years. And in that 17 years, she has primarily, as a main or focal career path, been in the B2B sector. So it's not in digital marketing ops in the sense of agency life. She has been on the client side, working in running a marketing department, for attracting high value B2B business opportunities and what she needs. So her dynamic in that sense is very, she needed us. And it's going to be a really interesting story to really reflect on. But also, she does have agency ops experience because she has her own agency out of New Jersey, Revelation Creative. She's been running that now for over 9 years. And we're going to talk about that too. But it's going to be a very interesting perspective as we kind of sit down in your reflection, because you see it from kind of both sides of the glass, where I am just the disgruntled ops guy, completely from my career, been in agency life and beaten down to a fat pulp. So
I see both sides, both disgruntled sides, Mike.
as she pulls the biggest jug in front of her to sip on, which does not have water. It's full of
It's
alcohol.
all
And
vodka.
that's the
How else
first,
do we get through the day? Really? Come on now.
because we start drinking because op sucks. So let's, let's start there and just, uh, perhaps maybe I want to start with you on as a question is, tell me, because you've been in the B2B sector as a marketing director, in a large company, that has a board to report to, and equity owners and so forth. That is a very different than a B2C mom to pop. I'm looking for leads and whatever else. And now, as you've transitioned to the next chapter of your career, you have really focused on going back into agency life and focusing on your agency and what you can provide in consultancy. We've talked a little bit about fractional CMO, which I'm sure you'll get into, but
Mhm.
that's where you're going to focus now. So you've had, a few months to really kind of process, get your brain healthy, and kind of, reflect on your time. What are you seeing in your transition, but what are you also, moving kind of out of B2B and where your focus is going to be? I'm interested to kind of hear that, because it's always interesting when you get out of it.
And I am, in some respects, still going to be in the B2B world. And for the work that I'm going to be doing moving forward with Revelation Creative, a lot of the type of clients that we are engaging with are those that do serve other businesses. They're MSPs, they are manufacturers that look for different channel partners. And in that world, so B2B, I always feel just takes a certain kind of glutton for punishment, which I don't know if it's my childhood trauma, if it's just something intrinsic personality wise that I just drink that shit up. Love it. So it's the slog, right? Uh, you know, we do serve some B2C clients, and it's great giving them their leads reports, especially in the e-commerce world. You can see the numbers immediately, and month over month, you can see the growth. With B2B, it's so much more about relationship building, and with a concerted effort to build trust. That's one of the reasons why you and I have such a great relationship. At least I would characterize it that way. You can color it however you want, Mike.
I
But
lied. I lied to you through the entire 3 years we worked together. I'm just full of shit.
It's like, hated that bitch the whole time.
And know why I have her on the podcast.
I don't think I can contend with Jack Porter Smith's potty mouth, but I'll try.
No, Jack's Jack. He's just, his head's so full of air. I just got to pull the valve every once in a while.
Well, and a shout out to Jack. Jack is actually the one who recommended that I start working with you in the first place, Mike. So it goes back.
That's right.
It all goes back to Jack. So hey, Jack, I know you're a listener and friend of the pod. Enjoyed your pod as well. So nice to be in good company here. But back to the question. So with serving the business to business environment, it's working very much hand in hand with the sales team. And you, as a marketer, are only going to be as good as the results that can be delivered by the people who are making the deals. There is, unfortunately, unlike the B2C world where marketing can function almost independently as sales. If you have good customer service, do you need as robust a sales team? With the B2B environment, so much of it is the relationships that are maintained, the integrity of those relationships that are maintained over a duration of a very long period. And it's the return on the investment that you put into that relationship, that recurring revenue that happens month over month, year over year, decade over decade in some instances. And it's because of trust and integrity. And how I can't remember exactly who has said it, who is attributed as that author, but trust it takes decades to earn and seconds to lose. Maybe, I'm going to say Warren Buffett. I'm probably wrong on that one, but love him too. Anyway, so being able to, as a marketer, represent a business in a business to business world, you have to very much be tethered and involved with sales leadership. And a lot of what I have done working in the physical security world in business to business sense is really work very ardently on building and cultivating a strong sales force where you're not just knowledgeable, and being knowledgeable doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you can get the answers, but being trustworthy, making sure that you are transparent. If there's supply chain issues, get ahead of the conversation. If there's going to be interruptions in installations, then have a proactive communication about that so that it's not going to take a customer who's been working with you for years by surprise and feel like the rug got pulled out from under them when you have to push back a few weeks, because there are, especially now, all kinds of things that are going on external with supply chain, with unfortunately tariffs, what's going on globally that can impact whether or not you can deliver, especially when you're working with manufactured goods that do need to work in unison with other manufactured goods. It's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of logistics at play.
Yep.
So being able to keep those relationships holy is one of the most sacred things, I would say, that is essential in a B2B environment. And again, working very much so that whatever message that you are sharing as a marketer with your audience, with your community of those who trust your business, that is the actual footpath taken by your sales team. And a lot of marketers, and Mike, I know you've felt this heat, this pain, and you can comment on this as well. But you could talk a great game, but if your sales team is not delivering on those same promises that you are making as a marketer, sales are going to fall short, satisfaction is going to fall short, and the growth of your company is going to go in a direction that you're not going to want to see. So that's one of the reasons why I veer into a little bit of a sales lane when you are working with me, because it is very important that I work with the leadership that is installed within a company, whether that was in my last position that we had referred to in the security industry or as a client of Revelation Creative. I work with all the departments within the C-suite. So I work with finance, I work with legal and regulatory, if such departments exist for an organization. I work with operations, especially because you do need to know, if we make this sale, can we make it sale? Is it going to go smoothly? If not, that's when communication, and that's when people like me and you, Mike, in the marketing world, we need to get ahead of those conversations. We need to put words to a page. We need to get phones picked up and answered so that a dialogue can happen that is proactive, that saves relationships before they are injured when you do have to deliver bad news. So long and roundabout way of answering your question there. But I would say that the relationship build in B2B is something that is a long game. And as much as you want to be able to build it overnight, it absolutely is not. And it is a slog. But for those of us who do love the work, who do love the challenge, it's what gets us out of bed in the morning.
100%. And to your point, like, because we are on different sides of it, you mentioned kind of like what marketing's purpose is in B2B, but is only as good as the sales department. But the sales department depends on your marketing vision, your marketing language to fill their hopper so that they can even execute. Whereas, let's say in agency life or, in this, we depend on the salesperson to bring in the business so that we can close it. So it's a different dynamic, but like marketing is super important in B2B. And to your point, like, when you want to compare B2B and B2C, though that type of client will always be looking for the next partner, the next opportunity, sadly. Like there is a shelf life. Like I was just talking to somebody else and saying, like, if you get, let's say, 2 or 3 years in the sense of a recurring partnership with a B2C customer, that's a pretty good run in digital marketing. But a B2B customer, in your sense, and I think you'll agree with this, is just on the investment alone that type of client or customer is going to invest in the relationship that your company that you are with or that you will be with has, they don't want to break that in 6 months, 12 months. They're trying to look for years as like this. Again, I say a lot on the podcast with other guests. I am not, your supplier. I'm a strategic partner, but that's really in B2B is what companies want is they want strategic partners that can facilitate for years based on larger budgets, demand. And like you said, you have to be able to nurture that relationship at the beginning to win it. But then the other thing you said is, fulfillment is everything. And that's where you and I got along so well is because we're fulfillment people. So
Mhm.
even though you had those hats of, a portion of sales, a portion of finance, whatever, but ultimately you're a fulfillment person in your marketing department for your sales department. And I'm, for example, the fulfillment for you to execute what they need so that the whole cycle can work together. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, taking it just a little step further too, when when we're talking about my previous background and the projects that we've worked on together too, the individual sale that could result from a lead, minimum 5 figures, average 6.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about lead quality and lead quality versus lead volume, you know, the conversations that you have with leadership when they are investing so much in working with someone who's directing their marketing and then working with the team that she in my case she was building out to support her, which included you, Mike, and your team, your wonderful team. It's a lot of leap of faith because what has historically been the way that marketing has been assessed as successful is volume of leads. Are we getting, is the phone ringing off the hook? Well, 90% of those calls are garbage or more.
Yep.
Do you need to have a fully operational call center if you get rid of 90% of those calls because you're getting significantly more qualified leads coming through? And then
You're
changing the
almost doing
business
niche
model.
marketing for the type of company you're with. It's niche marketing because you're looking for a very small percentage of clientele in the B2B that, again, to your point, 5 leads that come in versus 50 and 3 of those that you can close. That's an extremely impressive conversion rate for your sector versus, again, I need 600 leads coming in to close, 60 of them based on our quoting and closing averages. So it's your game, and that's how you always position it because we're looking at it month over month performance. We're looking at, again, volume, or are we increasing? And you're sitting there saying, I need a couple because the value of the lead, if it closes, is 10 times higher than, again, the small to medium sized business that is able to $2,000 a month for some recurring marketing. It's
Mhm.
very, very interesting in that regard, because B2B is another animal, right? Like there are tactics in digital marketing that respectfully you kind of want to just put out there and say, we're going to do this, and this, but they don't work the same in B2B that they work in B2C. In B2B that they work effectively in B2C.
Mhm.
Because again, to take a step further with this, in B2B, you're not necessarily looking for the business owner. I'm the owner of the roofing company. I'm the owner of this yoga studio and I need to help grow my business. You're not talking to a CEO in a prospecting call or a discovery call. You're not.
Nope.
That person has the level of people around them to say, this is, Gina, this is your job. Go find a WSI Commandex, a supplier, a strategic partner that will do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G for what we need. So you've got to be able to really figure out what is the type of titles that you have to go out and resonate with. Are they searching on Google AdWords for the problem that they're trying to solve? Are they actually using search results, or are they using social media? Are they using reputation management? Are they Or are you looking at maybe LinkedIn outbound marketing in the sense of targeting certain titles of people in certain thresholds of B2B companies that you're actually going to resonate? Because the key is you got to get that message out. And if they're not searching like the other people are, then that marketing tactic or marketing strategy is not going to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you absolutely hit on this too, the credibility factor of what can be found about your company. Because when you are working in the B2B world, as you mentioned, I am not looking for the owner of that company. I am looking for the person who's going to be signing the check for the
Yep.
solution that I'm going to be
Maker.
installing in their office, on their campus. And that person has to go through other channels within their organization as well. They have other regulatory bodies that they have to answer to. Procurement is involved. And what goes into the assessment of whether or not you are a verifiable entity that is going to deliver up to the standards that this organization is looking to achieve. And when RFPs are sent out, you can respond to those. However, if your digital presence looks like trash, that's going to hurt your overall perception. If your Google reviews are garbage, not going to help you either. So it is very much, you talked about reputation management, making sure that the noise surrounding your company that can be found, having a PR strategy, something that we worked on as well. Uh, Having
Shout out
that
CIP, shout out CIPR. Hey, Christina.
Yay, hey Christina, how you doing, girl? But yes, having those strong advocates that can be an additional mouthpiece for your organization that work in tandem with the work that you are doing where you whole own your content, but having that echoed by other third party vetted and trusted platforms really helps with that decision making process when you are going out for bid, when you are working with organizations that have multiple rungs before you can get an absolute check mark on, yes, we're moving forward.
Should we just drop the mic there? Because, you speak way better than I do. And this is why you're an absolute boss. My goodness. Look at these words, procurement, and you used something else earlier that I'm trying on my other screen here to define and understand what it means. I'm a very simple man. Come on.
Oh, you're selling yourself short here, Mike.
No, I'm, you know, the only thing short is the amount of belt notches I have left in the belt. Oh God! But you're so right with that, and just it's so interesting because it's different, right? It's different, and what we're really trying to say is your strategy has to be different, the expectation has to be different, and the approach has to be different on how to navigate. Because again, going back to what you originally said to try to define it for the listeners is, it's really about relationship building. It's not just about performance marketing in the sense of growth of opportunity. It's how do you hit all the touch points, so again that firm, that corporate business will look at you and say, this feels like the right fit for us to engage and then invest and then grow with. And those are the most powerful relationships if you can get that done correctly.
Absolutely. And it can be an overwhelming landscape to address when you are someone who runs a business and then you are looking to grow your business and you are in the B2B environment. Trying to most of what I have found with my own clients and through other positions I've held through my years in marketing have been owner founders who are usually more oriented on the R&D side, more on the operations side, less actually on the business side. So, and that could be a function of just working in security. It could be a function of working in tech. But the smart ones are the ones who find people to fill the gaps where their personality might not be a good fit, where uh, their EQ might need a little polishing, and that their presentation might also need a little improvement. And that's where someone like me comes in fractional CMO purposes, being able to really augment what wonderful things are going on inside of a business, being able to become that mouthpiece. People are often very bashful about what their own accomplishments are. And if
Yep.
there's ever anybody who can speak loudly for you on your behalf, it's going to be a great marketer. And they're not going to do it with, the beating you over the head with it. It's let's leverage case studies. Let's leverage customer satisfaction. Let's talk facts about ways that we have alleviated headaches, that we have made lives better for the people and communities that we have touched. And it's creating those narratives around that. So the B2B environment often gets labeled as more of a, I want to say, let's call it less of a touch and feely kind of world. But I think in a lot of respects, it's the EQ, and companies that are smart enough, if they don't have it internally, they find the source for it that can come in there and examine what they do and put the polish on it so that it is a digestible narrative, that is a compelling one, that guides the decision-making process for people who are trying to filter through a multitude of different options. And in B2B world, going out for bid, super, super common thing. Businesses will look for solutions from other providers and put together what their request for proposal look like. And then you, shouting into the void, create your proposal in response to that. Now, a lot of times it'll come down to the dollars, but what are the things that make your company an interesting one? Do you have a level of give back to your community? Do you have charitable partners that you support? Are you in a minority owned business? And shout out to my company, Revelation Creative. We are a registered WeBank company, woman owned, certified by yours truly. So looking for just got to do a shameless plug every now and then, right? I'll just like pepper them in throughout our talk here.
What do you think we're doing here? Come on.
But yeah,
are you in the community? No. Do you have a minority? No. Are you giving back? No. You wonder why I'm failing.
I mean,
break this down. Make changes.
Yeah, well, I actually took on this podcast opportunity as a business coaching one, Mike. So here you go. This one's for you.
For fuck's sakes.
I'm just joshing you. Between me and Jack, you can't get away with anything.
I knew you approved it way too quick.
I know, right? I was like, you know what? How can I just get my licks in with Mike without him really knowing? And I knew this would be that chance that I get.
This is a theme because you listen and you know that I've had a couple of very strong women on, whether it was Christina and you've had the fortune of meeting her and working with her for a small duration of time. She's an absolute boss. You want to talk about woman empowered, moms running business and at home and so forth. Like, she's a boss. I've had Heidi Schwendy on recently I just dropped her part 2. She's an absolute boss. One's coming up with Denise and Cynthia. You all just beat me down to a pulp. Like, I should just know where my lane is. I am the ops guy. Shut up and do your job. And women rule the world, and women are the power of digital marketing. There's the punchline right there.
But it's all about balance, right? Like, us aggressive women need a punching bag, and you are an excellent punching bag for us, Mike.
Are you saying I'm heavy?
I'm saying you could take a hit.
I take a hit every day. I got up this morning, I got punched from my wife, and then I got online, I got punched from work, and now I'm getting hit by you. Perfect.
Hey, good. Everything comes in threes, right? So there you're done after this one. At least for today.
You're quicker and more sharp-witted than I thought you were. Damn it.
It's unfortunate. Believe me, it's been a disappointment for many men before.
But, we have no rhyme or reason to where we're going to go, but that's a really interesting perspective of B2B. But what I would like to do, because again, what's so interesting with you being a former client in the sense of you And again, I don't want to sit here and talk about the 3+ years we worked together in the partnership, but I think there's some really interesting nuggets there that would help my WSI community, which is a large portion of my audience, all of 8 as per my metrics. Work on that too, Mike. It was better when Christina was here. The female male dynamic helped lopsided. Now it's just me and it's a train wreck. So I'd love to just kind of hear, and this is not at all for, here gloat about my team and whatever, but I would love your reflection of just our journey together, because one thing I want people to know is, and one of the reasons why I love Gina as much as I do truly is she has been so gracious in making sure that, our team members, and some of them have come and gone, some of them are still with us, but making sure people knew that they were important, making sure people knew that they were respected and appreciated for the efforts that they did. Because, what people may not know, and what Gina's saying about her former career and where she was in the security business, is her marketing department was very small. Two women. She's the powerhouse, and she had a supporting lady that helped her and complemented in ways that were designed internally, but that was all they had. So they really needed a strategic partner, to her point of finding a strategic partner that could be that extension, knowing that that internal marketing department was not going to grow to 5, 6, 7 people. So she needed to basically have, multiple people at her fingertips. And she's been so kind of gracious in always making sure we knew that you're not a supplier. You're not just a bunch of grunts that I'm going to take advantage of. Like sadly, many clients and marketing directors sadly do. They don't value the people. And that's where I'm going with this. You have never devalued the people. And that's why, maybe I'm pulling it back too fast here, but that's why to this day, when my team heard that you were choosing to go in a different direction, they were actually quite hurt by it. It wasn't hurt because, are we going to lose the client, or are we going to this? That's not the point. It was they enjoyed working with you. And I think that's so special to kind of share back with you now, months later, is because who the hell says that? If people come and go in business all the time, right? Because you're paying for a service. But my team they felt like they lost someone that was close to them because they respected you that much because of how you respected them. And I think that's why that partnership was so, and I don't use this word a lot, Knops, fun. You were a volume lady. You had demands. You had daily stuff that needed to be done. Like, again, B2B, lots of stuff's going on, and higher value retainers, much more things have to be done week over week versus just, I talk to Gina once a month. We're talking to Gina daily almost. And, they loved working for you. So I don't even know what the hell I said there, but that's my opening of the door of talking about our kind of journey as working together. And again, take it over from your thought process and so forth, because this is one of the reasons why, everybody says, when somebody's leaving, Mike, I really appreciate you, and let's keep in touch. It's always like the honeymoon syndrome, or you're coming back from the vacation. We'll keep in touch, and you never do. But you have been effectively transitioned into your focus now with fractional CMO and Revelation. And it's been about, give or take 5 months. And we have kept in touch every month since you've gone. And I've never had a client like that, respectfully, that has transitioned into almost somebody on my phone that I just want to be like, hey, buddy, how are you doing? What's going on? We follow each other on Instagram. You have been a supporter of Angry Ops Guys in the very beginning. And, but that's the reason why I said, you know what, Mike, there's more to this than just, some business success between us. There's a friendship here that we can continue to blossom. So that's my whole little garble. What does Jack call it? I'm waffling, but take it over and make it smart, because you're a woman and I'm a dumb man.
I think that was a beautiful soliloquy. That's what I would call it, Mike.
What is a soliloquy?
When you're just speaking to yourself. There you go. And shout out to Mike's mom. I'm sure you're listening too. So
before you get going here, not to lose your train of thought, I sent my mom my latest op song.
Oh God.
And I called her last night to talk to her, and I had a nice chat with her, and she says, that podcast you sent me and whatever else, she doesn't know the difference. God love her. She's my biggest fan. I love her, but I'm like, right away, I'm like, I've missed the mark here. I'm like,
Well, at least I hope she understands partially what you do for a living. My dad still thinks that I have a dream of becoming a veterinarian when I grow up, and I'm a 41-year-old woman now. So
Those
let's leave
emails you
parents out
type
of this.
all day, and those screens you're looking at all day, very impressive. Yeah, mom. There's this red dot on my iPhone, and what do I do? Just push the fucking update button, mom. Fine. But I haven't backed up anything. I never said, oh my God, I'll be down. I'll be down in an hour, mom. I'll come help you. My mom thinks I'm an IT person. Just
I
fix
think
things.
that is like the millennial charge in life. Like we all are just, IT support for our parents. And I can only claim that for one of my parents. My mother is the one that I serve as the IT department. My father has a jitterbug, if you're familiar with those phones that do nothing but act as a old flip phone that has no capabilities of a smartphone at all. The stupid phone, if you will.
It's his stress level must be just low because that's the dream.
It
Get
is.
away from the smartphone brick of just using the goddamn phone for a couple of text messages and phone calls, which just get off the screen.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
probably in such a good place.
Oh, yeah. No, if anyone is in a mental state of bliss, it is my father. Completely unaware of the world at large. But what we were talking about, we were talking about how much I love your team, Mike, right? That's where we were going with this and how,
And that's not what I implied, but sure,
but
love
you
and
know I
whatever.
do.
So you can do that because they don't listen to this, and I'll have to force them to
No,
listen
you're
to it.
going to make them.
No, especially when I say Gina's on there, all of a sudden my following will go through the roof because they're like, now you've got somebody that we actually love as much as the other people are ass kickers as well. But that's part of it. But it's more about, and I want to be very grounded with this. What I was trying to say with that soliloquy was, it's more about the strategic partnership,
Mhm.
and what is neat. I think what's important for people to take value out of is what needs to be on both sides of the strategic partnership so it wants to work, because that's the thing in agency life is the higher the retainer, the more demand from the client, and
Mhm.
that's where the meat grinder mentality comes from, of just like, God, you've used the word a couple times, I'm a slog. It's a
Mhm.
slog. But when you can actually use that word, like, I enjoy working with someone, then the volume of work doesn't matter. But it's because of, again, going back to your thing about B2B, it's the partnership or the relationship aspect. So take it in whatever direction you want, but that's kind of how I see it and how I was just trying to set it up in reflecting on our past that got us here.
No, absolutely. And I'll do some level setting with the where I'm going to take this to. So, number one, with Revelation Creative, it has evolved over the years. So now we provide fractional CMO services. When I originally opened Revelation Creative, we were a full service creative agency. So I managed a team of a multitude of different types of creatives. And over the years, we've kind of steered more into the strategic leadership arena. But having had the experience of managing creatives and understanding what it means to have to be the person that interprets what business objectives are and makes them make sense to people who can action on those objectives, but in ways that are not necessarily from a foundation of business acumen. So you are creating something on behalf of a brand that is supposed to be engaging, compelling, motivating. But is your background going to be someone who's an MBA with all of this mathematical analysis behind you? Probably not. Or if it is, like, I don't know if you're going to be the best creative. I don't know if I want you doing my creative work, right? So having a respect for those people, and I've seen it demeaned many times when I used to work in the pharmaceutical sector. That was actually where I started to earn my stripes in the marketing world. And I would see so much miscommunication from the business heads over to those who actually did the creative builds, whether it was for websites, whether it was for mailers, package inserts, things like that. Um, People who are responsible for making the visuals and the stories that would go through the brand leads to ultimately create action that was desirable by your target audience. There's a lot of things that can get lost in translation, even like being too broad with your terminology when you're trying to ask for something from a creative, when you're speaking in a business language and not a creative language. So
Mhm.
being able to, just giving myself a little credit here, understand that there's differences in how brains are wired from those two angles. And what I have seen is just a lot of disrespect from people who feel that because they are on the business end, because they are on the side that creates the numbers, that create the revenue, that, well, this creative area who we are paying for, now we're calling it a sunk cost because it's money out, they're not creating money for us, that there is a lot of disrespect that is given to those people when really they are the heartbeat that keeps the lights on for these companies. That without their inspiration, so much of what gets put out into market is dull or overlooked. They have such a grasp on things that business people just miss. And I've watched it happen for the years that I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, just this absence of respect. And then running my own agency when I did have my creative team as part of it, it was very important to me to understand what their motivators were, what made them feel appreciated and understood. And so much of it is just open communication, having comfortability to have a difficult conversation, but to have respect be part of the relationship that is maintained, and to be able to say, hey, I think this one missed the mark, but here's where I think we can take it. And I know you can do it. Or, you know what? This one's a little bit outside of your ballpark. Let's move it over to this person who I know is more attuned with this line of work, with this sort of industry. And it's no harm, no foul. And giving people the opportunity to feel like it's okay to fail when you fail and learn something.
100%. That's the only
So,
way. That's the only way. That's the only way we grow, right? And everybody wants to be perfect, and everybody wants to, put the best thing out. But real growth comes from suffering, challenge, or not putting your best thing. Is what did you learn out of it, so that you'll be sharper the next time? I couldn't agree more with you on that point alone. Like that's but feedback has to be constructive because we live in
mhm.
a very sensitive world now, whether it's the younger generations that you mentioned millennials, which we both are, but
Mhm.
millennials are a tough bunch of fuckers. Like we have been through some shit in our
We
40
really
years.
have. We
Like
need a break, honestly, but we're
no
not going to get
kidding. Like
one.
we've been through economic recession, we've been through a pandemic, we've been through a stock market crash. What else have we been through? But um, also mom and dad beat us, and
And everybody clapped for them.
exactly, like, good for you, fucking deserved it. But it was like, but also with that, it was like we learned tough skin of how to navigate. But my point being is, in today's world, even the last 5 years, not even the last 10 years, it's changed. You can't go at people like we used to say, this is bullshit, this is wrong, and I'm disappointed, and whatever else. So to your point, it's how do you break through the noise with different personalities and different people that have different skill sets and get the best out of them. And as much as you're talking that about how to understand a partnership and how to get it to work, you're also it's also just that's just how to work your team 101 from within. Because
Mhm.
if you think everybody's going to be the same and everybody's going to have the same volume of output and is going to be as perfect as Jimmy versus Jane and whatever, that's not the way it works. And that was one of my struggles as an ops leader that I'm still learning is I want people to work a certain way. Well, my Peter, so he goes, Mike, he goes, you need to look at how to get the best out of the person for what they can contribute and understand when to let things go. Meaning, like, somebody's going to give you this output. If that's good enough, then maximize that output versus expecting that from the same person over there that does something different. But you need to find a way to break through to them, whether you're a client, whether you're a partner, or whether you're from within and you're in leadership, to get them to respect you, to want to continue to persevere, be challenged, and ultimately, I love the word you said, and it ties into your business name, to be creative. That's what we really are at heart. We are
Mhm.
creative people, whether you're on the SEO strategy side, whether you're on content development. Shout out Safa and Taryn on my team.
Love you,
But
girls.
but and then there's Lenny in the project management side, tactical, technical, and creative. But we are creative people. And that's also what you have versus just being a marketing director, which is, I'm the manager of the department, but don't have that lens. And I think that's a credit to you, not only in the sense of having your own agency that was creative first and now moving into more consulting related focus, but both sides. And that's really key to get more out of people versus, like you said, the person that doesn't know how to do that. Because when you can do that, it can be so powerful to get the best creativity, whether it's for your business as the customer, your agency as the leader or the lieutenant, or just for retention of those people. Because if you treat them well, they'll go to bat for you.
Absolutely.
You treat them like
Absolutely.
shit and it's out the door.
And the cost of turnover is so detrimental and so disruptive to business. When I talk to leaders who are looking for my guidance for how to right course their ship from a marketing perspective, and this is again where I start driving in other people's lanes, but if they ask me not to leave, then I'm going to stay there. When we talk about where do you have hiccups? Where are there challenges or roadblocks that you're facing? Well, so-and-so is not doing this correctly. So-and-so is not engaged. Doesn't seem like they're really, happy to be here. And it's a lot of finger pointing is what I tend to see, where that's an average leader. An average leader will identify the problem, and the problem is someone else. A great leader, an exceptional leader, looks at the same situation and says, how can I communicate better? How can I speak in words and terms that is going to make something relevant to the person that I am asking to change? And how can I respect their integrity during that process? And it really comes down to this. This is one thing I just ask myself at the end of every day. And then I start my day off with the inverse. Was I a dick today? And if I was a dick to anyone, then, and I reflect on that, and if it wasn't warranted, then an apology is. And apologizing, like, because Mike, shit happens to us all day where we're just bombarded and we're getting just arrows. Just
you get short with people because you only have so much mental bandwidth to be able to take so many punches.
Exactly. And sometimes we lose our finesse. We break a little bit. We snap. We give a snippy answer, or if you're from Jersey, you rely on sarcasm too much to get you through the day. And that can be acerbic to some people. You don't want to always do that, especially if you know that somebody's a little bit more sensitive. And that's something that you have to have the EQ to identify. And if that person is somebody that does meaningful work and is somebody who is a contributor, going back and saying, listen, I didn't show up the best way possible today. This wasn't the best version of myself. And that's no reflection on you. And let's leave this one off the scorecard for now, because otherwise, you're doing a great job. And I just want to give you that applause. Being able to have some humility in the conversation and look to identify your shortcomings as a leader, your shortcomings as a communicator first, before you look to blame someone else for where they might have failed you. That is where I see the biggest missed opportunities for organizations to retain their people and to get the best work out of their people. And what I can say, having worked with your team, Mike, is that I appreciated giving them the space for them to be themselves. And I think that by me letting my guard down and, being on the client side of things, I know that for them, it's, well, we got to come polished. We got to come, ready to bring our A game. And yes, bring your A game, but relax a little. And I think once you can get a partner who is committed to doing the same objective as you, relaxed and comfortable with you, knowing that, like, you know what? I'm human and I fucked up today. This was not my best showing. And I'm going to be proactive about that communication. And I'm going to tell you a resolution that I'm making to correct and right course where we went off the road here. That's the kind of relationship that I value. What I don't want to hear is how everything is sunshine and rainbows 24/7 and things always are going up, up, up. Never a dip, never a misstep. That's not how business works.
It's such bullshit, eh? It's less like you can, and if you've been doing this long enough, you smell right through that. The best conversations are the ones where the people talking to you, like you said, feel the comfort level, not in ease, but to be able to say, I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm going to be matter of fact with you, whatever, and tell you really what's going on. Well, you want, I call it just transparency, but it's like you want to have a relationship with a customer or a relationship with a supplier or whatever, be transparent. You're going to have tough conversations, but tell what's really going on versus sugarcoat and putting lipstick on a pig. They're going to respect you more for your approach and how you're trying to take care of them. This is why I try to tell my team and I try to tell other people that are younger in WSI, because I learned the hard way of being an asshole. Is the one thing that I tell them is it's not always about the performance. We worry in today's world that the numbers have to move forward. They've got to be climbing. They've got to be good or we're going to be fired, because there's so much reactionary urgency now more than ever in today's digital space. But
Mm-hmm.
the real relationships and relationships, for anybody listening, recurring income streams are the ones that say performance is going to be volatile. Performance is going to be up and down like momentum, but it's how you navigate the customer and how you take care of them through that and how you narrate it, how you position it, how you own up to it, or how you just tell them what they need to know, even if it hurts. They will respect you, and that actually offsets the stress of just performing every minute and every day of the week. It's not about, like you said, the needle going like this upward trajectory. It's, can I trust those people over there that are taking care of me through the ebbs and throws, through the seasonality of my business, through the low points, the high points. A lot of clients just want somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up and let them talk. Let them get out what's on their mind. Look, Gina was crusty today on the call and whatever else. But if you would have let her talk, it was actually because her cat's sick, her husband's away, her house is under renovation, and she broke her big toe this morning at the gym. It had nothing to do with you, but no different than what I love about mental health posts, because mental health is a whole other story. But they say never attack somebody because you don't actually know what's going on inside. And it's true. You could sit there and say, what the fuck is the matter with you? And I'm so pissed off and blah, blah. And that could be the tipping point to put somebody over the edge.
Yep.
So it really, this is a people's business. And one thing I love what you said before I lose my thought here is WSI. I think you know this from some of the presentations I went through with you and everything else, but they really changed kind of the mission statement or the unique selling proposition of the brand a few years ago. And again, disgruntled Dick Mike here is like, what the hell's that? But I start to understand it more than ever, and credit to them for figuring it out with how they did it. Is they said, embrace digital, stay human. And what you've said a couple of times here is it's the human element. Don't lose the human element. Humans are not perfect. We're not robotic. We're not AI. But you have to have some humility as to who humans are. Some are sensitive, some are tough, some are rough, but how do you get them to work with you? And I think in closing on that, like, respect is such a viciously positive energy battery catalyst. You give somebody respect and whatever that means to them, they will run through a wall for you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, knowing when you are making a big ask, and I have to give such a shout out to Lenny, you on your team, Mike. I adore Lenny. He's one of my favorite people. I made so many big asks of Lenny, and I would preface it by saying, look, I know this one's a little out of pocket here. And if you can get to it, absolutely love you for it. And I knew sometimes it was like, oh God, like you're asking so much from this guy. Like, and I would text him personally and say, Lenny, you've gone above and beyond for me. I appreciate you delivering on this with such short notice. And I would do it every time. And then I'd send you a note. Hey, Lenny,
You
killed it
did.
today. Absolute dream of a person to work with. Could not write on paper a description of a better partner if I tried. Lenny is that embodiment. And just to having that
And
appreciation.
and what does that do again for the workers behind the scenes that are not the point of contact at the agency, not the front facing person or whatever else? They live in the department of, what am I doing? Is there value? Am I okay? And whatever else. But again, I have saved those. I have sent them to the team members, and then you go read them in like a team meeting, and you see that little smile, because it's just like, it just lights people up. People want to be um, told they're doing okay and they're appreciated. I think we're all wired like that. You can say, oh, it's not me. No, everybody wants to be appreciated. And in a digital world, and especially a remote world now, that especially the digital tech IT sector that we are in it's very hard to gauge through emails. Is Gina happy with me? Is she, thanks, Lenny, but I just worked all day. So for you to have the self-awareness and humility to know that that's important is probably why, again, to this day, my team loves you. And I told them I was going to be recording with you. I told them I had a meeting with you a couple of weeks ago, and guess what they said in the team huddle? They didn't say like, have a good day, Mike. They said, say hi to Gina for us. Hi, Gina. Hi, Gina. Like, my whole team's like pro Gina. I'm like, what about Mike? Like, oh, shut up.
What about Mike, right? What about Mike?
Woe's
Poor
me.
Mike.
But also you say about the whole, I reflected nighttime. Was I a dick today? Well, I do that at nighttime too. And I say out loud, was I a dick today? And then you hear from downstairs, my wife, yeah, you are. You're a dick daily. I'm like, perfect. Thanks, honey. Nice to have you around. So, but you're right. Is, like in closing that kind of chapter, and let's move on because I want to get into some ops rage, because
let's do it. Let's do it.
But on that point, is just respect the relationships. Go to bat for the people that go to bat for you. And really just make sure that you don't lose sight of that in the journey of that relationship, because that will get you through the trenches, the noise, the war, the pressure, the changes, and whatever else. And ultimately, when you're spending thousands of dollars a month in a retainer with an agency, you have high expectations, but that agency also wants to enjoy what they're doing. And we do enjoy what we're doing when we have customers like Gina that, in her moments of, communication like that, it's well received and never forgotten what we did, because you always knew that you could not succeed with what you had internally, the budget you had fiscally, without strong partners. You always knew, I need to depend on these people so that I can succeed. I can hit my targets. I can get a promotion. I can get a raise. It's all interconnected. Especially when you don't have a lot internally. You said, you were like a one-woman army, respectfully, of what you had to do and facilitate. That is very hard when you're talking, again, B2B at a large-scale business of what you need to do. Takes an army to get that stuff done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, just to put my final 2 words to it, that if you just live under this one mantra, that if everybody did, the world would be such a better place. Be kind. That's it. Be kind.
It's amazing when you just are nice to somebody, what you'll get in return. And it's a whole other podcast of how we've lost that and we're going backwards, but we'll stay out of that because that's not the themes here. But let's get into some ops rage.
Let's do it.
Because this is always the fun part. And, and let's just get to the point. What do you hate about ops? Oh, what just chaps your ass, because again, you have both sides of it, but what are the themes or what are the examples? I would love to pick your brain on this because I could go off for hours about what I hate.
So here's one that I love. This has to do more on the leadership end of things when we're having conversations about ops. I call it, and I'm going to trademark it. I call it the ventriloquist act. And Mike, you got to tell me too if you feel this as much, being a very buff gentleman, gym-going gentleman, as I, a mere slight female, feel. But I call the ventriloquist act when you say something and you've said it over and over and over again, and this all of your history, all of your experience, everything that you are reading and learning about in industry points to this direction, that this is the right way to go. And then you are shot down. And then all of a sudden you hear your exact words come out of someone else's mouth, and then you are told to do what you had suggested and very much clearly made as your best recommendation, only to find that, wait a second, somebody else is now claiming ownership of this? Hold on a sec, leadership. And especially in my world of marketing, I find that I'm often hired to be the one to help steer people on the right path, only to have the steering wheel hijacked from me and then get backseat drivers so many times that think they know the right direction, think that they know where to go, then will tell me where to go when I'm the one with the map and I know the directions. So that I think is my biggest contention, my greatest point of rage. It's that ventriloquist act. So, gotta love hearing my words out of other people's mouth with no recollection that that's the source of where that knowledge came from.
Interesting. Well, my first response to that was saying, Mike, what do you think? I'm like, why do you think I'm the angry ops guy? Yeah, that drives me nuts too, because it's like, well, look, we say stay human, but people are the biggest enemy of business and progress and everything forward. There's alternative motives. I talked with Eric Cook, my friend, about imposter syndrome, which is, I think, a huge topic. I'd love to have you back another time just to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Imposter syndrome. And also people are stubborn. They're stubborn. They don't want to be told what to do. Look, I don't want to be told to do. Why do you think I'm in leadership? I knew very early on in life that I'm like, I don't like being told what to do. So I want to dictate my own day. And I think, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, I think you're cut from the same cloth. Like I like to, I love what your analogy. I like to drive. I like to drive versus be a passenger. And also, if you're a fucking passenger and you're in the back seat, you don't get to say what's on the radio. I'm the driver.
Absolutely. One thing about your comments here, though, Mike, I am glad that it's equal opportunity, that it's not just us ladies who feel this pain.
Oh, I feel it because again, like you would never, let's turn it back on a prospect example. You would never tell the prospect how to do their business. Again, I'm just going to pick on different companies. You're in trades, or you never tell a roofer how to shingle a roof. Or never tell a landscaper how to lay sod or grade, for drainage. Why are you telling me what to do in marketing strategy? I'm not saying that to be arrogant and egotistical. This is my skill set. This is my experience. This is what I do. You engaged me to be able to solve a problem for you, just like I would engage you to solve a problem for my home. Why are you going to not listen to me? Or why do you want to butt heads and challenge me? I still can't figure it out 20 years into the industry. And I think it's just people in insecurity and not wanting to not feel like their voice is heard. And there's a lot of that in business. I don't know. What do you think about that? That's what I think it is, because I wouldn't do that to someone. Like, I'm not smart at landscaping, so don't I'm going to ask questions. I'm not going to make statements. And we seem to see in marketing, and maybe because marketing is subjective, marketing is interpreted a certain way, and maybe that's what it is. Like, look, me and you have both done web design forever. Web design is one of the hardest things still this day, because it's a subjective lens as to what you see. Is it accurate to my brand? Does it resonate with me? Do I like this person and this color and this flow and whatever else? And we're all different as humans and how we look at things. But, I mean, again, what do you just think on that piece, and what do you think it is?
I think you really nailed it there. When I have had some conversations with people about marketing, where it is one of those things where someone is trying to take the steering wheel from me, marketing has been considered on the level of black magic. That it is something so foreign, and that because you can't see it, at least with landscaping, you can see somebody's work outside and say, oh, you know what, that tree looks nice.
It's such a great point, though, and I think that's part of it is they can't see a lot of what we do. You see the end numbers, you feel the end progress, but you have no idea what goes on under the hood.
Absolutely.
No
Absolutely.
idea. So very well said on that. And that's kind of the taboo of the industry is, you guys want $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. Where the hell's my money going? What are you guys actually doing for that money? Whereas to your point, the landscaper or the roofer, oh, look, for that $25,000, look at that roof. Look at those bushes. Look at that lawn. Look at how manicured it is. Like, there is a visual representation. Whereas us, it's not even what you produce as the final product. It's the data now, numbers, which dictate success and return on investment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what I also will add to that too is I think the response is one that is based off of fear. And a lot of it stems from situations that you or I never created. We're walking into conversations that have already taken place where somebody's been burned by another agency. And unfortunately, in our world, there are a lot of agencies that are out there that are looking to make a fast buck, don't care
Yes.
about client retention, and will do the quick and easy way that ends up hurting a brand long term, leaving a sour taste in their mouth. And then they look to a really great partner and then have all of these apprehensions about bringing you on board to do the work that you have been successful doing. And I know I could speak on behalf of your team, doing it in the right way, not cutting corners, not doing what is just easy or in your best interest, working on behalf of the best interests of the client. And so many people have been burned by those experiences, or maybe not even burned themselves, but know enough to understand that there are people like that in our industry that are out there circulating, that they have a lot of hesitance and reticence to embark on that kind of a partnership. And you really are held to the mat to earn your stripes and prove your worth. And if you don't do it in a very narrow window, then it's out the door. But
Big,
in
big time.
especially in B2B, going back to the original part of the conversation, you need that runway. You need time to cultivate that relationship, to understand the depth of that business, to go through the sales cycle, which is usually a pretty long one in that world, to be able to show them your mettle. And I can't completely fault people who do have those fear responses. They're usually for a reason.
Yep.
Why does a dog bite you? Well, somebody probably smacked him with a newspaper that looked like you before you came along.
Yep.
So you got to have, again, that understanding from, you mentioned it earlier, understanding their perspective. It might have nothing to do with you, but still, you having to undo some of the wrongdoings that were perpetrated by someone else that wasn't you. Uh,
How
and
many
you,
times have you seen that though? Whether, let's go back to Revelation and
Mhm.
WSI as agencies. How many times are you talking to prospects and that's the theme right off the gate? You guys
Oh
are all
yeah.
the fucking same. You'll have the same shtick. The last assholes that we brought on, I'm $50,000 lost and nothing was generated. Blah, what's going to make it different? And so, a lot of our education and approach to trying to help people is one, listen to them first, because you need to understand what the real problem is. Is the
Hmm.
problem that the business isn't generating leads or business, or is the actual problem is they don't trust digital marketers, or that they don't have a plan, or that they're just, and so forth. The second piece of that, it really is, after you listen to them, is you need to be able to, like I said, in a very small amount of time or with education or insights, to stand out in a commodity centric business and saying that we can do it differently, or let's crawl, walk, run approach it, versus I'm gonna tell you $20,000 right off the gate because it's the quick win for the agency, because you see dollar signs of opportunity. Again,
Hmm.
really the theme, it's funny, we didn't come into this conversation, this chat, to you and I, about any themes, but the real theme about this and everything we've talked about is relationships.
Hmm.
And if you can establish that relationship or get them to think, or that's interesting, that's what changes that. Because how many times do you hear that? And it's been like that for years. And as more agencies come into the fix, as more of them pop up with guarantees and everything else, it just gets worse and worse. So it makes the good ones stand out, but it makes the good ones harder to acquire net new acquisition, because so many business owners, and they're literally saying the last client of ours, we got burned. We lost so much money. And now, Mike, you're telling me this year, if I go with you, it's going to cost me $85,000 total this year for marketing investment. That's a big investment. Yes, it is. But that's what you need to do. But then you need to give me the time and expectations to prove it to you. And I think that's why, again, my team, not me, my team worked as well with you, as you allowed us time to be able to prove layer by layer as you increase the intensity of need, services, strategy, to be that machine that everybody, literally, you had touch points with everybody in my agency that focused on different things. And it's not, you didn't have an agency. That was your team. They were just in a different part of the world, in a different country, at your fingertips. And, you know, remember when we wanted to, what was it? I think we wanted to either re-onboard you when you were there because we wanted to get our documentation updated, or you called a meeting and wanted to tell us a whole bunch of stuff. And I brought everybody on the call, and you walked in, you're like, shit, like, this is like an interrogation. Like, literally, Gina gets on, like shuffles back in her chair, and she's like, Gina, because all you see is these WSI shirts everywhere. But you said afterwards, you're like, guys, this is amazing that you're all here, because it's not just let's translate through Mike's voice of what Gina wants. You had your whole team there so that you could be the, not ventriloquist, but the puppet master saying, this is what I need, guys. Okay, Gina, let's go. And that's the power of digital marketing when you have the right relationships.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And the relationship that you and I have, Mike, is one that I truly, truly value. Your candor with me. You're somebody who I've had to come to with ideas that weren't my own. And you do end up having to do the crazy check every now and then, because you hear so many things so many times in one given day from people who are writing you checks that they want things done a certain way. And in your heart of hearts, you know that's not the right way. Being able to have somebody that you can trust professionally, personally, that you know is going to tell you that's bullshit, or, yeah, no, they're spot on. Like, you need to recalibrate. You need to learn up. But to have you as a sounding board was one of the greatest assets, and continues to be one of the greatest assets I have as a professional. And I value that to the nth degree. And I'm sure anyone that you feature on this podcast would say the same. Anyone that has gotten the privilege of working with you would also say the same. But you are somebody who does not sugarcoat things. And that is probably not appreciated by everybody, but it's appreciated by the people who are the right people for you. and fit is just as important as really anything else out there. And all I have to say is our friendship is a perfect fit.
This has been a paid endorsement by Gina Marie. You're very sweet. And
when are you passing me the envelope, Mike?
I've actually got one right
there
here.
There we go.
Cash for the contractor. You're very sweet, and I don't take compliments well, in my own way, but that is a very, very nice reflection. And that's why we're friends versus just people that cross paths to work. As we start to wrap up here, because I've kept you for a good amount of time, I would like you a couple of things. So before we start to wind down, I would love to give you the floor for a couple of minutes to talk about Revelation Creative. Now, out of New Jersey, okay, you're in the United States.
Yes,
but
we are.
Talk a little bit about Revelation Creative today and where it's going and what you're focused on, because this is, yes, a WSI themed podcast, but I want this to be, potential for networking or people to understand you, because we're all in this together in different services. So tell us a little bit about Revelation. Tell us a little bit what you're focused on, what you're looking for, what you're doing. And then I got a couple of personal questions to ask you to make you laugh. We're going to wrap up.
Oh, all right.
Those ones are going to be good.
Oh, I can only imagine. All right, we'll get the professional stuff out of the way first. Okay, let's go. So, Revelation Creative. So, what I like to describe Revelation Creative as, my brainchild, is that we bring the emotional intelligence, the EQ, to the IQ. So often what we do is partner with companies that have reached a point of stagnation, that are looking to grow but can't necessarily get themselves on that right course, that they might be looking to sell their business and are looking at what the next 3 to 5 years might look like to give them the best runway to get the best price for their company. They might be going through an acquisition or a merger they'll need help with navigating what that landscape is going to look like. So what they essentially need is someone to come in, and that's what Revelation Creative does. We help them navigate what is typically uncharted waters for them. We help them understand what the marketing landscape looks like for their own internal communications as well as external communications to their customer base. We work predominantly in the business to business sector, as I've mentioned throughout this podcast, but also in the B2C world as well. And what we essentially do is break things down so that the headache solved by the companies that we serve are in easily digestible narratives that are compelling cases for why customers should stay with those businesses and prospects should want to be working with them in the future. So I act as someone who will architect what the marketing strategy looks like. I will create the team members and compose those teams that will go in to the execution portions of those campaigns. And that can be internal teams that we're working with, building those up, upskilling those teams, as well as finding the right partners externally, people within the WSI network, people like Mike and your team, to really help augment the strategy that we're looking to put into place to get to those levels of growth and to alleviate those pain points for the businesses that we serve so that they can break through thresholds of stagnation, go to that next level of success, really to have someone that is an advocate for them internally that works with the right partners to do the execution work for building out all of the initiatives that go into what it would mean for meaningful growth for that organization.
Jesus Christ, Gina, just tell us you do creative for fuck's sakes. Like,
Oh, or that.
Wonderful. And what type of because look, the listeners can always have their ears open and connect with you, and we'll get to your handle shortly, but
Sure.
what type of client are you looking for moving forward as you work to grow your agency as the focus of the next wave of your career? What's the ideal client for you moving forward?
We love working with people in the tech space. So usually a little bit past the startup mode. So somewhere in the revenue space from about 5 million up to 50 million is usually the sweet spot for where we come in. We work in tech, manufacturing. We've worked in accounting, banking, legal. So retail is another one. But with the idea being that if you are being tasked with having one-off requests made of you by people who are not in a marketing capacity, we are the glue that acts as that guidance for what a holistic picture would look like for a business. So again, the fractional CMO is a nice thing for people to bite off because you don't have to pay the benefits and the high salaries that go with a full-time CMO. So
Amen,
that's
sister.
the nice alternative.
You bet. All right, let's get to a couple personal things that you have no idea what I'm going to talk about.
I don't.
This is fun because you've sitting here roasting my fat ass for. So first off, what I know about you, others don't, and is you're a big animal lover.
I am.
Big. And I think that's also why we connect on the personal, because my wife is part of the SPCA over here, helping animals get adopted, and you've got a farm at your house with your husband.
We do.
I know you have a couple of rabbits. You have a couple of cats, but primarily tell me about your new guy. He is a handsome fellow, that cat.
Well, thank you. I take all the credit as his adoptive mother for his looks. So he is quite.
You sent me a picture, like, look at this guy, because what you had said is, I don't know the proper terminology, and you'll do it, but he had to you built him quite the hell of a kind of you called it like a hotel outside because he had to be outside until he either got vaccinated or he had some checks before he could become an indoor cat. But tell us a little bit of that because he is a handsome guy.
Yes, he is. So his government name is Marmalade Biscotti.
Why do they do that? So fucking stupid.
Every animal of mine has a ridiculous name, and he is not allowed to escape that wrath. So his government name is Marmalade Biscotti. For short, he is Scotty. Um,
Mhm.
and he is a ginger meow. He is a
He's your
stray,
Garfield.
so not a feral. Oh, what was that, Mike?
I said he's your Garfield.
He is a Garfield. He definitely is. A little bit dopier than Garfield, though. He has some learning to do. But he is a stray cat, or was a stray cat. We found out through observation that he was coming around our backyard looking for food from about August of this year. And we, over the course of the winter, started to realize that he was not going home to anyone's house after a certain point. So we started asking around in the neighborhood. And I have to give my husband, who has an absolute heart of gold, a lot of credit on this one. He created a flyer, put it in our neighbors' mailboxes around our neighborhood, just
Yes.
asking if anybody had any information on this cat. And if you could let us know, because we're going to try to rescue him. But if he's somebody else's, we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to kidnap someone's cat. So we got some intel that indicated that poor Scotty was abandoned by his previous owners in a move. So they left him behind and they left him outside, which was fine to do in August. But as we started off this podcast, it's really frigid this winter
Mhm.
in New Jersey. And it was getting to be sub-zero Fahrenheit. Sorry, Mike, and Canada. But that's how we deal in America. Sub-zero Fahrenheit here in Jersey. And he was not doing well outside. So my husband, under my supervision, I am the
Foreman.
supervisor and the GC of all of our projects. Yes, the foreman, and he is the
DC.
execution team.
Christ.
So he built outside an oasis for Scotty, which included a heated bed that was covered, um, a automatic feeder that would go off twice a day, and some heated water bowls so that the water wouldn't freeze during those cold periods. We got to have a heart trap back in January, and we stationed some outdoor cameras to surveil Scotty's whereabouts.
Mhm.
And sure enough, one day we're sitting in front of the TV, and our one rabbit, whose name is Arthur Fonzarelli, he started to thump at us. And we had no idea why Arthur Fonzarelli was thumping at us. And sure enough, Arthur Fonzarelli was trying to notify us that they have a heart trap. Like, look at your cameras, dumbasses. There's a cat in your trap. The thing that you've been trying to do, yeah, it's happening. So we went outside. Scotty then moved from our outdoor oasis to our detached garage oasis, where he had, again, under my supervision, my husband built a giant 6-foot by 4-foot containment area, quarantine zone, if you will, for Scotty. We have in the house itself, we have 4 pets, 2 rabbits and 2 cats. So not knowing what had gone on with Scotty, we wanted to make sure that we got him set up with a neuter and with his full panel of blood work and all of his vaccinations before we did any introductions into the house. So Scotty has been doing wonderfully. He's moved from the garage quarantine zone, which I think he does regret having to move into the house with the rest of the pets.
He
Where
had it pretty good. I've seen the
he
the photos you put on. That
yeah,
fur ball had the suite.
it was an epic bachelor pad, and I think apart from the neuter,
Exactly
he
what.
probably would have put that to really good use.
Jesus Christ.
But no, he's integrated in the house right now. We're doing slow introductions we have 2 girl cats who are extremely bitchy. So he is definitely got his work cut out to give some Garfield charm to them. Last on the introduction list will be the rabbits. Now, our 2 girls are very good with our rabbits. Scotty might still be a little used to the outdoor world where those two look like food to him. So we're gonna just very slowly coach him on how do you behave around two rabbits.
Well, he is adorable. He can tell he's got personality based on his face, and knowing how much of an animal lover you are, it's a testament to you and your husband to give him a second chance on life. I'll say this, and I don't care if anybody cares. If you are someone who abandons an animal, no matter what service, go to hell. Because me and Gina
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other people I know, we're going to come find you,
Oh yeah.
because life happens, shit happens, but there's always a place to take the animal so they can get out of the cold, they can get the right antibiotics, they can get a second chance on life. Look, stuff happens, but I just, for the love of me, I do not understand how people can abandon an animal. I don't get it. It's so heartbreaking, and that's why we adopt, don't shop over here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're very much the same way with your husband, and he's going to have a great
I
forever.
adopted him as well. I did not shop for him.
Now, speaking about your husband, that's my last point. Is there's been a kind of a rumor going on online, if you know where to find it, that you married a famous porn star.
Oh my god, I love this. Okay, so this is going to go to. So okay, all right. I don't. Wow, it takes a lot to make me lose words. So
I'm sorry. Are you fumbling there for a
I
moment
am
there, dear?
fumbling. I am fumbling and blushing, Mike. So I met my husband 6 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and this was in the
It was
time
not.
after.
It was not on the set of an adult film.
It was
movie.
not. It was not. However, before I met my husband, I created a vision board for myself. So, ladies, if you're out there looking, this is, I swear by this. I swear by this. So, there is a very talented bald man, and that actually is his Instagram handle because I do follow this adult actor. His name is Johnny Sins.
Johnny
Just to
Sins.
give him a plug. Hey, Johnny, are you a friend of the pod? Like, hit us up.
Can you imagine all of a sudden we're starting to get a new following? This has gone the wayside quick. I haven't watched, Mike, you haven't watched an adult movie once or twice in your life, have you? The sad part is I knew who you were talking about when you made that reference one day. Like, I think it was date night. You're like, he's getting stares like I was like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
You shouldn't know who that is. And then I see so many photos of you and him, obviously with your life and things you're doing in Jersey or travel. And I'm like, he fucking does look like the guy.
He does. Okay. So
Keep going, please.
So the Johnny Sins, I took his picture, one that he was actually wearing clothes, put that on my vision board. And ladies, I shit you not, 6 weeks later, I matched with my husband on Bumble. And we went out on our first date, which happened to be on a Valentine's Day. And we both hated the holiday. We did an anti-Valentine's Day. And we have been together ever since. And yes, he does look exceptionally like Johnny Sins. Fun tidbit about after our first date, we were texting each other and not sexting, just texting. And I had mentioned to him something about how much I loved his eyes, that he had beautiful blue eyes. My husband's eye color is brown, Mike. So I was manifesting so hard that I had actually looked at this man throughout our entire first date, imagining that he had Johnny Sins' blue eyes, and just made it so in my mind. So to this day, my husband will say to me, "Don't you just love my beautiful blue eyes?" And I do.
Well, it's better than when I talk to my wife after supper and I say to her, I'm just like, look at the prize you married. And she goes, don't remind me. You got Johnny Sins over there, and I'm Ron Jeremy in appearance. God almighty.
You got a lot of miles to put on you before you're on Ron Jeremy territory. Don't you worry, Mike.
But I'll tell you, your laugh when I popped you with that question made my entire recording here, because it's amazing. But you do have, you can tell, and this is, as we really do now close this up. What's interesting to listeners, and you hear the way Gina and I are with each other, it's like two old friends, shooting the shit. Me and Gina have never met in person.
Mm-mm.
Isn't that staggering? Our entire friendship, relationship, partnership, because I'm in Canada, she's in the United States, has been through Zoom and cell phone and texting and whatever else. And we do have it on the docket. We're going to make it work. Whether her and her husband come up to Canada for a visit and come pass by and see me, or next time I'm down in that area on the eastern side of the
I
U.S.
would
to come.
never wish New Jersey on anyone, Mike.
No, but but again, we're gonna get together and we're gonna have that hug because it is years overdue. But um, I've seen so much because you were gracious to also. I don't follow a lot of customers and so forth, but you were one of those people I felt comfortable. Like I want to know the person more than the LinkedIn profile. So I think you followed me first on Instagram, and then I
Mm-hmm.
followed you, and so I've kind of seen through my lens your life and what you choose to share with people, and a lot of that is your family, your animals, and your
Mm-hmm.
husband, and that's where you're grounded, and you can just tell that you two are made for each other. I mean that
Aw.
sincerely. But you can see it. You have a dynamic together, and you have fun together, and I'm glad you found your person at this stage of life.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
And you've got some cool animals, and you're giving them a second chance on life, which is what good humans do. And I'm glad I popped you with that question because I've been holding on to that one for a while, and I just didn't know the right place. I'm like, well, it might as well be the Angry Ops Guy podcast.
I think that was possibly the best interview question I've ever had in my life, and I've been interviewed
Now
many
I'm going to get
times.
your husband as a follower after I drop this, and he's going to have to listen to it.
Well, I also maybe we need to have a Pornhub sponsorship for the Angry Ops guy. I think that might be next on the list. Who knows?
Yeah, and then I have to take the WSI off of all the branding because it's really going to go down to the right. What not to do in trying to promote a brand. But
Yeah, everything after we stopped talking about business. Yeah, this is not what you want to do for marketing.
I don't care. I don't care. It's my podcast. I'm shooting the shit with my friend.
There we go.
People don't like it. Turn it off. So in closing, Gina, you are active on social media, and I'm not implying for your personal accounts, but for people that are looking for, opportunities to connect with you from the business side, networking, obviously, again, your agency, Revelation Creative. So where can they find you at Revelation Creative, and where can they find you to connect if there's opportunities for fractional CMO, consulting work, and other things if they're in the US or looking to connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can follow us on Instagram at Revelation Creative Team, and it's spelled exactly the way it sounds. So Revelation Creative Team. And if you want to check out what we do over here with our squad, it's revelationcreative.com online. And it's my name, Gina, at revelationcreative.com if you want to hit me up and look for ways that we could collaborate in the future.
And let's not lose sight of your LinkedIn because that is a strong networking tool for you. Where can they find you on LinkedIn?
So I am on LinkedIn at Gina Marie Mattei. You can find me personally there, and you'll also find Revelation Creative LLC.
Rock and roll. So Gina, I have spent now almost an hour and a half with you, but I mean this sincerely. You are one of my favorite people in the industry. You are one of the people that I truly believe and feel that I can call my friend, even though we haven't physically met each other. And if anything, in the journey of the client that we worked with together, and now what it's becoming, whether WSI Commandix can work with Revelation, which we're already in the talks of trying to figure out those dynamics as you focus that. But also, I do feel strongly there's going to be somewhere in life that you and I are going to work together as a monster to put our brains together, and wouldn't that be fun? But you are beautiful inside and out, and
Aw,
you are a
thank you,
smart
Mike.
woman. And also, people listening, have you seen the theme here recently? I had a co-host in Miss Christina Pilarski for the first season, who is an absolute powerhouse. I have had Heidi Schwendy on in the last two episodes, who is an absolute monster of a powerhouse woman in the sense of sales and business development. I got Denise Bowen's episode coming, who is a kick-ass president of an agency, a powerhouse. Cynthia Mordecai, a partner powerhouse. The theme here is women run digital marketing, and they are the real powerhouses. Jack and Eric are just man children like me. We need to be told what to do. We need to be slapped. But the real power here is, you want good digital marketers as a part of your relationships, find women.
And we
Gina?
love telling you what to do, Mike.
On that note, the Angry Ops Guy _WSI. We are on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're dropping new episodes every other week. We're going to have more guests. Gina, will you come back on in a few months and shoot the shit with me?
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're going to keep throwing me these curveballs, Mike. I got to know what's next.
Rock and roll. Well, thank you so much for giving me my time. I love you lots, lady. Thanks.
Love you too, Mike.
All right. Angry Ops Guy out. See ya.
Sorry, Ops Mike, your email went to junk. Oh!